are live on episode 5
I'm down with that.
of the Zach and Jay Show. That's what we're going to go with. Pumped to be back. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's almost the weekend.
It is.
Got a big weekend.
Bro, you have a real big weekend coming up. How excited are you?
I'm really excited, and it's been a year now, so I've been in Indy, and it's going to be cool to see, kind of gauge where I'm at with my lifts. I have an idea.
So wait, you got a competition coming up.
Powerlifting meet.
Okay.
Kind of jumped over that. I have a powerlifting meet Saturday. It's my first sanctioned meet, so I've done, I think, 3.
This is your first sanctioned meet.
Yeah, so I've done like 3 gym meets.
Okay.
But I've never done like a legit, real sanctioned meet.
There's no difference, and people make this big deal like, oh, you allowed to squat a little higher in non-sanctioned and this, that, and the third. It doesn't matter. Go out there, push yourself to the limits. Do I think people need to do sanctioned competitions more than non-sanctioned? For sure. However, me, myself, I probably have double or triple the non-sanctioned meets than I do sanctioned meets.
Right. What's the difference between like just lifting in the gym and doing a meet?
Oh, huge difference. A lot of people were like, well, when I do my meet, I'm going to be peaking, I'm going to be able to lift more weight on meet day. And sometimes that's right, but not all the time. You have the warm-up area in the back, you're not warming up on the same equipment. You're using different equipment first to start. It's always going to be a little bit foreign, using a different bench, using a different squat bar, using a different deadlift bar. The padding on the bench is going to be slightly different, maybe wider, maybe not. And then in the warm-up area, for instance, like preparing yourself to be ready to lift and still be warmed up while not over warming up to give yourself more energy. So there really is a strategic approach to competition, and the guys who do it more tend to have better numbers, because it's like anything, you get better with the more you do it.
Explain how it works. Like, most people listening probably don't even know. I'm sure a majority of people do, but like, how does it even work? Like, how many attempts do you get? Like, what lifts do you do?
Yeah. So you start squat, bench, deadlift. So whenever you start saying, hey, this is how much I squat, then you say bench, then you say deadlift, because people get the order always mixed up. So you go in first and you squat. Usually you have a rules meeting in the morning about a half hour before, and it's usually typically broken up into 3 flights. You have flight 1, flight 2, and flight 3. Flight 1, roughly say the meet's 50 guys. Essentially it's broken in half each flight, into thirds. You're going to go ahead and be roughly with 10 to 15 guys in your flight, and it's going to go from the least amount of weight to the most amount of weight. So you start in the flight 1, lifter 1 might be squatting 100 pounds, then 125, then 130. So really in between sets as well, when you're going to squat, you get 3 attempts. Mm-hmm. But when you go, you do attempt 1, your opener, which should be, roughly 90% of your 1 rep max, something you can hit, maybe an 85, something you can hit for a triple in training and feel pretty confident in. Right. That should be your first attempt. And you go and you take your first attempt, and you got wait for another 10 lifters to go. So that could be, in excess of, 10, maybe even 15 minutes. It's usually a lot, 1 minute for the lifter to get on the platform and take his lift. So if you have 10 guys in your flight, that's 10 minutes between sets.
Just so much different than a normal. Like, do you do anything between those, those lifts, or are you just hanging out?
No, I'm just hanging out. I'm sitting down, but I'm training for that. When I'm in my training, I'm on my 4 weeks to competition. I'm taking 5 minutes, at least 5 to 7 minutes between sets, because I know my body's going to lift, in a sense, almost cold. For each attempt, and I'm not going to say cold as if like you just walk into the gym and do it, but you're not getting the same warm up. You're not taking your max attempts every 3 minutes. You're taking them every 8 to 10 to 15 minutes.
Right. So you get 3 squats. Right.
You get 3 squats, and then you're going to go ahead and take a little intermission, and so if you go in flight 1, then flight 2, then flight 3 goes, and then you go into bench. So this is a long day. I've been to competitions where it's been fucking 10, 12. I've been in a competition where I squatted at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I didn't deadlift till 10 p.m.
13 hours later.
It was ridiculous. Now, that was the worst case scenario, but I've been in those competitions. I've also been in competitions around 6 o'clock. Definitely expect at least a 10 to 12 hour day, 8 to 12 hour day.
It's insane. That's so long. So you do 3 squats, then you get a little bit of a break, and then you go into the bench press.
Yeah, then you go bench, and you get 3 attempts again with the bench, and flight 1 goes, then flight 2, then flight 3, and each flight, each lifter gets 3 attempts.
Right. I like how the deadlifts last. It's like the grinder lift.
It's the grit. Yeah. You see how much. It's so funny in competition. Like, people are dudding out on the deadlift because it's a long day, and they've exerted their body to their full potential on the squat and the bench.
Yeah.
So your lower back's typically pretty sore, pretty tight. Your hips are tight, and which is why I always train both sumo and conventional, because if my hips are too tight, I can get them opened up. Fucking, I'm pulling conventional. Or if my lower back was fried, fucking, I'm pulling sumo.
Yeah, you got to be good at both.
So and I'm not saying not everybody does that, but that's just something that I would do, and it keep myself competitive throughout the competition. Most competitions I've done, I've only lost 1 powerlifting meet. I think one.
Such
And I've won best lifter in probably 3/4 of them.
Yeah.
Of my competitions. And prior to me really getting involved fully in powerlifting, I was already pretty strong kind of going into it. I didn't know powerlifting was a thing for like the first 8 years I lifted weights until I went to Westside. I didn't even know like that you could actually compete
You were just
in the
lifting
sport.
to lift weights.
I was just lifting heavy as I possibly could.
Right. which is fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talk about the warm up, right? So this is kind of something that I've been thinking about because you don't have the same equipment, so I'm not going to have necessarily a seated row machine. You know, usually for my deadlift day, I'll go and do seated rows. I'll do 45-degree back extensions. I'll do, you know, whatever else. Like, how do you go about your warm up?
Yeah, so something that was really effective for me, you know, warm ups and as well as eating. We'll talk about nutrition on meet day too, because a lot of people kind of neglect and forget that. As far as warm ups are concerned, though, I take a band with me, and depending on where I'm going. Like the last couple strength or powerlifting competitions I've done has been at Nick Showman's meet.
Yeah.
So I know the equipment that Nick has. Like Nick has bands and he has dumbbells at his gym. So I'll just go and grab, you know, dumbbells from the back, and I'm gonna do my, you know, bent over rows with some dumbbells and some overhead shoulder work with the dumbbells just to get some blood flowing. And then I grab bands. You know, if the gym doesn't have bands, or you know, if it's at like a lot of times you'll have powerlifting meets at schools, you'll have them at hotels, venues. They don't have no equipment, so be thinking that before, you know, take some bands with you. That's why it's always good to invest in bands, you know, because you can't really do your 45-degree back extensions. However, you can stand on a band, wrap it over your neck, and do some standing good mornings, which is going to get that posterior chain activated and those glutes firing.
Right.
So I'll do that for my warm-ups as I start going in, you know, prior to actually taking any lifts on my, you know, taking any weight on my back.
Cool. Interesting. Yeah, I guess you could do like glute bridges and other body weights.
Yeah, you can
like
do
that
glute
too.
bridges. Also, you can use the bands to do seated rows.
Yeah.
You know, you can basically get a full workout band. So just be creative with the bands. You know, bring a couple in your bag. Bring a foam roller. It's always good to have a foam roller.
Yeah.
You know, I have that hypervolt that I use in between. And just while we're on that topic of just kind of like preparing for meet day, prepare yourself to have, you know, some Pedialyte. I also like to get some like quick sugars in me just throughout the day because I'm pretty like, I'll just take a soda with me. I don't drink pop hardly ever, but I'll just sip on it, you know, throughout the day, and that's always helped me out. You know, or some Gatorade. I'll do half Gatorade, half water because Gatorade's pretty thick. And then food. I'm bringing just my normal meals. Don't think about, you know, don't overeat on meet day. Then you're going to be bloated and your deadlift leverage is going to be fucked up and thrown off. Yeah, it might fare you well on the squat or the bench. It's not going to fare you well on the deadlift. So just eat practical. Eat how you typically would throughout the day. If you're just pounding fucking carbohydrates all day long, like half these guys are doing at powerlifting meets, it's so funny. By the time they get to the deadlift, dude, they are faded. They're exhausted.
They've had 10 servings of pre-workout.
Yeah, they've had like 10 servings of pre-workout and they're eating Skittles all day. And like, don't be wrong, I'll eat a little bit of snacks throughout the day too myself. It's just because it's just like a social thing for me almost when I'm training. But, you know, take a break. You know, take a break from that stuff and just focus on eating good meals.
Yeah, my experience with the eating is pretty funny. So one of the meets that I did, this was the guidance that I was given at the time. I would just ate junk food the entire day before.
Oh,
So on
man.
Friday, I ate shit all day. You know, I just was eating pizza and McDonald's and
That
Oreos.
wasn't your typical diet, right?
No, it was totally different than my typical diet. And I also didn't drink nearly enough liquids. I didn't even know I'd never even thought about drinking liquids until I remember we were at Bob Evans that one time before. I think you were doing a meet maybe. Yeah, it was that big water cut you did, I think.
Okay.
And you were talking about the hydration part of it and the Pedialyte and the Gatorade. I never even thought of that. I just thought I was eating as much food as possible. But it makes sense because you gotta have the liquids for the bloating, you know, like the bloating that you're looking for. And so I just ate everything. And then what I didn't do enough water. And then the next day, I remember my stomach was just so miserable. I couldn't even focus on lifting. My stomach was so just junked up and bloated that I couldn't even think about the meat. I was just miserable.
Yeah, just think you have to eat like shit one night while your stomach feels the next day, and then you want to really be up in front of fucking 50 to 100 people squatting. You're gonna shit your
The
pants.
entire day too.
You know, the entire day you're gonna be wore out that way. Again, let's go back to the warm-up area. You know, so then you start warming up for your squats. Flight 1 goes first, then flight 2, then flight 3. So as flight 1's warming up, flight 2's just chilling. What I see a lot of guys make a mistake is they overstretch before competition because they just see other people doing it and they might not typically stretch that much, but they see everyone else doing it, so they're like, well, it's my first meet, that's what everyone does, so then they're stretching it. Nothing foreign, nothing other than what you've been doing. You know, on meet day, it should be just another day of lifting weights, except for you get a much better atmosphere to set PRs. You shouldn't do anything different than you typically would do.
Yeah.
So I'm not overstretching. I'm also not the guy, you know, you'll see multiple guys like this, especially at like bigger competitions, or any competition really. You have fucking 50%, 75% of them are just such badasses, right? I'm rolling my eyes now. You know, they're walking around, and they're fucking, you know, they're all hyped up the whole time. I'm like, homie, you ain't fighting no one here in the back area. Save your energy. So you'll see me before the meet. I'm laying down, chilling, sitting on my back, have my head propped up. I'm relaxing, saving and conserving all of my energy for my attempts. I don't care if people think I'm tough or not. Usually I get, you know, when I go to competitions anyways, people never look at me like, even they write me off from the beginning. So I'm typically a smaller stature guy. They don't think I'm gonna move the weight I'm gonna move, and then next thing you know, I'm in a third flight with the geared lifters, right? Warming up with 650 on my back.
Yeah.
You know, and to warm-ups, you have to be a little bit aggressive with warm-ups, especially depending on the competition. Like, I know you're doing Nick Showman's meet. So when I do Showman's meet, a lot of West Side guys go there. So West Side has this stigma to them. They're fucking hard asses, and that's just how they are, and that's how they've been, and they're some of the best lifters in the world. However, they can be fucking bullies in the back. You know, not want you to jump in with them and different things. So I just kind of force my way in. Don't be shy. You know, step up when it's your time to go. Like, yo, I need to warm up. And just because you have 3 plates on there already, I still need to take 1 plate. And it's, you know, just because you started warm up before me doesn't mean I still need to warm up.
Yeah,
so I'll just walk over, and they'll act like it's not a big deal. I flick the clips off. I pull it off. I start pulling weight off, and I go, whoa. I said, it's my turn to warm up. Like, I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to lift weights. You know, because everyone's like, you know, you're in this situation and position where everyone's overflowed with testosterone, and they're all being fucking badasses because they're trying to set PRs that day. So he's gonna know the environment you're getting yourself into.
There's only so much equipment. I mean,
Yeah.
you gotta let everybody.
You gotta share, right? But not everyone thinks that way.
Right. So talk about like the you know, just like the aggressiveness that you need to take into your warm up, because you know, like 2 weeks ago when I was deadlifting, you're like, save some of your energy for your top sets, because I was, you know, going too hard on 225 and 315.
Yeah, this is a very common mistake I see just every day in the gym. You know, guys take 135 like it's fucking 500. And they're just doing like 5, 10, 15 reps, like full exertion, to where I'm just trying to find my leverage. I'm trying to find my form. I'm not overdoing it. You know, I'm just really, I'm only exerting the amount of energy that's going to get the bar up and get it up efficiently. Like, I'm not trying to like make it, like, I want it to be slightly a speed rep in my warm-ups. Like, I'm still exerting a lot of energy, but I'm not gonna pull on 135 or 225 like I'd pull on 600. I'm gonna pull on it like it's 225, and I'm gonna find my groove. I'm just gonna try to work on getting those muscles that I need activated and firing, so I'm ready for my top sets.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely am guilty of that.
Yeah, and there's not a bad thing to do it in training, you know, kind of like to build explosiveness. It helps, but we do, our programming has tons of explosiveness built into it. You know, it's almost conserve that energy for the actual meet.
Yeah, and what's the difference, you know, between, because a lot of people will be like, you know, I'll just take max attempts in the gym. Like, a lot of people ask me, why would you go to a meet like Tim? I was like, you can just do that here at the gym, you know, and just take your, what's the difference, right?
It's a huge difference. You know, it's just like, it's competing in general. That's like playing backyard football and be like, there's a difference between playing NFL football and backyard football. Yeah. Like, it's competition. The level increases. The level of intensity increases. You pull more out of yourself, and you're put on front of a sage. You know, ask Tim, when was the last time that he stood in front of 50 people and squatted?
Right.
There's an element of fear. You know, there's an element of people watching you. You have to, and like we talked about prior to this, it's getting yourself warmed up correct. Like, a competition is way more difficult than training, right? So much different. Well, mindset-wise, I'd say actually the competition is easy because you're only doing 6 lifts all day, or 9 lifts all day. But the training should always be more intense. But I'm trying to talk about like mentally preparing for the competition. It's way more difficult than mentally preparing for a training session. Yeah. Because you have longer breaks in between sets, and you're trying to gauge it throughout the day and make sure you keep your water intake up, but not too much water, and you don't want to, we talked about bloating a little bit before. You don't want to over bloat yourself. You know, that's not a thing either.
Change your leverages.
Yeah, not only change your leverage, but you just feel like shit. You know, do you over bloat yourself before you go take a max effort deadlift every Saturday? Yeah. No. So it's like, why would you do it in competition? Just to make sure you're keeping liquids in you throughout the competition.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, I'm learning so much right now myself. I'm taking mental notes. But yeah, like like you said, the preparation leading up to the meet, like your training increases, you know, exponentially. Like your focus and your motivation to train. Like if you're lacking motivation, we always talk about putting a date on the calendar. So lifting meet's one of the most popular dates on the calendar that you can put on, right? For like a normal person. Absolutely. Like if you need something to elevate your focus,
it should be a powerlifting meet because it just gives you the ability to perform at your highest level possible. It gives you something to train for, and it's not a bodybuilding show where you're going through an excruciating cut or anything like that. Don't worry, and that's another thing, guys. Don't worry about weight cuts. You know, a lot of people who follow me are all about weight cuts because they just saw me do them so much. Also know that I was always going for world records and international elite totals. Like, the reason I was cutting so much weight is because I was a top level lifter. I didn't cut weight when I first started training because there's no reason for me to. When I first started competing, because there's no reason for me to. I wasn't setting no records, and don't. Another thing is don't care about state records. They don't fucking matter.
Yeah.
The records really don't matter, period, because they're going to be broke anyways. This is what it is. Go out there and just do your very best, and one day your very best will be enough to have a world record.
Yeah, I'm not cutting any weight. Whatever I weigh, I'm weigh. Like, people are asking me, like, are you gonna try to make? No, I'm not gonna try to make 181. I weigh 190, and I'm gonna show up and weigh 190. And it's like, I'm not going to again break any world records or any state records probably. It's like, why would I put myself through that and minimize my performance on Saturday by weight cutting?
There's absolutely no reason for it. There's just no reason for it, and I wish more people could hear that there's no reason to cut that much weight before competitions. Like, I've done crazy weight cuts. I've cut 30 pounds in 7 days, 9 days for a competition. I almost died. It was literally one of the most excruciating things I've ever done, is cut that much weight in that short time. And the reward I got from it was more. It wasn't nothing with lifting, because I fucking had a horrible meet. I totaled like 1775 or 1745, which is still a good total. But relatively speaking, I was shooting for 1900. I took my openers and I only got 1 of my second attempts because my body was just depleted.
I was gonna ask, yeah.
But I learned so much about myself during cutting 30 pounds in 7 to 9 days. I learned who I was. And it also just gives me a sense of confidence. Like, not very many people in the world's ever done that.
Yeah.
And that just gives me a little bit of confidence. Every time I go to a competition, like, confidently speaking, I'm the most confident person there. Like, I plan to win. Like, I'm there. I'm like, I know what I've done. I know the pain I've put myself through. I know the consistency I've had over the last 14 and a half years of training. I don't miss training sessions. I work my fucking ass off. But when I go into competition, I'm prepared to win. Right. So it kind of gives you that element of, it's almost like slight arrogance of going in.
You've done the preparation, though.
You've done the preparation, absolutely. And you need to go in. You can't be going expecting, like, well, I hope, like, you never hear me, I hope I can do this. Like, I'm going to fucking do it. Like, that's why I'm here. I'm not here to hope for anything. I'm here to win.
Yeah, it's interesting how you turn that negative of that meet into a positive.
Oh, absolutely. Everything I do, right?
Isn't that funny how that works with everything?
Everything, man. I turned all adversity to me.
You didn't hit your numbers. You were 200 pounds off.
Yeah.
But you used it as a positive because now you learn more about yourself.
Now I learn more about myself, which is faring me really well in strongman. You know what I mean? How much I can push my body to its limits.
Right. So that you can literally turn any negative into a positive.
It's just the way it's just changing the lens.
Perspective.
Yeah. Just like the lens changes. Back when you were a kid, you look into it, you see the beach and you pull it down, and then you see the mountains.
Yeah.
It's just changing the lens. So every time you look at a situation that's a negative situation, just change the lens and see which way. Try to look at it through a positive. Like, what can I learn from this?
Yeah. Talk about like envisioning your lifts. Like, I know you're huge on envisioning your daily activities and everything like that. So how far in advance do you start thinking about, like, your numbers that you're gonna hit and seeing yourself actually do it?
When I was really chasing records in powerlifting, when I was really going for a record, the all-time total at 181 was like 1810, 1820. And I was really close to it. Now it's like 1950 because just so many people are getting involved in powerlifting, and the guys are just continue to get stronger, and the level of competition continues to increase when there's more capacity of people in the sport, right? But at the time it was like 1810 or 1820 was the all-time record, and that's what I was shooting for. And I was going for, I think the squat was like 705, and I was approaching that squat. I was totally powerlifting was my identity at that time. So I was envisioning these lifts like 2 weeks out. Like, it consumed my life. Like, Ashley used to talk, she's like, I love you in strongman, so more powerlifting. Because like, I envision my lifts and stuff, but it's not till like the day before, a couple of days before. Like, I've been preparing and training, and I'm considering myself a veteran in strength sports. I've done so many elite meets, and I've trained so long, and I'm a strongman. So I just consider myself more of a veteran into it. So I don't think the same level of visionary work 2-3 weeks out is necessary. Like, I don't need to like subject all my family and stuff to focus on it, but I'm thinking about the week before. I'm simulating the weights. I feel the pressure on my back, and I can see myself squatting the weight and how I'm going to accomplish it, the feelings I'm going to have when I accomplish it, that sense of glory I'm going to find, and how I'm going to be remembered, and how I want to be remembered through that lift. And when I get under the bar, though, that's when it really matters. When I get on the bar, it's life or death. Like, 700 pounds can if you weigh 180 pounds and you're putting 700 pounds in your back, it can snap you in half. And I'm prepared to risk my life every single time I get on the bar. I'm going to fucking die for it to get it up. And a lot of people get on the bar and just try to squat up. They have the safety spotters around them and shit. Like, for me, it's just me up there. If I don't get this lift, I'm going to die. Like, I put myself in a crazy element of fear as if it's life or death. And I know it sounds like cliche or crazy, but if you've never put yourself in that intense competition, you can't relate. You have to put yourself, like when I was doing my last strongman show and I had 300 pounds roll on top of me, that fucking Atlas stone fell on top of me, roll on my arm. I was willing to break my back to get that stone over that bar again, and I had already won the competition. I didn't have to do the lift, but it was that element of like I was willing to do whatever it took. I had the element of fear that if I didn't accomplish that, I was going to die, that it was going to break me.
Yeah. What's going through your mind when you step under the bar? Like, is there anything? Are you thinking about anything?
Total confidence.
Yeah.
It's my fucking time. Time to go to work. This is what I do every day. I'm just totally just rehearsing myself out loud, verbally. Let's fucking go. Let's fucking go. It's my time. This is what I trained for. I'm verbally speaking. People around me are just like looking like I'm crazy.
This guy's nuts.
I'm fucking getting my, my mind, and my eyes are fucking just all bloodshot, and I'm only focused on getting that weight up. I don't care what I look like or who's there, what weight's on the bar. All that fucking matters to me is I'm gonna go down and I'm gonna come up. If I'm benching the bar, it's coming up. If I'm deadlifting, I don't let go of that bar. I'm willing to break. I'm willing to fucking do whatever it fucking takes to get that bar up. It's just total confidence within yourself. That comes through the preparation of training. You train real hard and it's your time. And I see a lot of people go to competitions, they just dud out. They prepared for it, they're good, they just don't compete well. And a lot of it's because I don't think they believe enough in themselves to actually accomplish the lifts that they were set up for. And there's gamers, there's guys who show up for comp day and there's guys who don't. It's unfortunately that's just the name of the game. I've beat a lot of people who are stronger than me because I just believed in myself a whole lot more than they believed in themselves.
It either makes or breaks you, right?
It does. It'll make you or break you. That's what competition does. It makes you. Everyone's like, "Oh, just do it in the gym." Like, no, it's different. Trust me. Just do one meet, and you'll realize it's different. You're gonna leave that competition with a sense of urgency. It's crazy. After you do a competition, watch the next 2 or 3 weeks. You start setting more PRs because you have more just drive.
Yeah.
Because you've done it and you've kind of you separate yourself too. I mean, how many percent? What's the percent of the population that even works out? And then from that population that works out, what's the percent that actually competes? Not that many people compete. And 8 years ago, before social media was real prevalent, it was even smaller amount. Half the time people only compete now to put it on social media to say that they're cutting for a show. And oh my God, I want to eat donuts. It's like it's fucking so much more than that. Are you competing for other people or are you doing it for yourself? So find your motives. I see a lot of people not achieving the results that they want because they don't have the right motives. They're not. Are you doing it for the likes? And this is a real thing. And this is fucking needs to be talked about. Are you doing it for the likes or are you doing it for yourself? Know why you're going in there to compete. I'm going in there to test myself, to push myself to my limits.
Now, you drinking pre-workout on the day of the meet or?
Nah, I don't do. I might do a 5-hour energy because it gives
some
me
minimal caffeine.
Yeah, I mean, say that. I mean, there's been competitions where I've drank caffeine throughout the whole meet. I've done that, but that's that high that ride them highs and lows. Yeah. So you don't want to be in them lows before you go up to fucking deadlift. So more like carbohydrates, more like carbolin, stuff of that nature, more natural energy comparative to.
I guess that's what you're used to, right? Because like for me, I don't hardly ever drink caffeine, so why would I drink caffeine?
Why would you?
Yeah, it would just throw me off.
Yeah, why would you?
So interesting. The whole diet thing. I think I'm just gonna keep my diet literally the same.
Yeah.
That's what my body's used to, and that's what that's what I've been training, doing. Now I've been hitting my numbers, so why change it? People want to change everything. Like that's like bodybuilding. The final week, people change everything. And sometimes, it might make you look a little bit better, but a lot of the time it just makes you look worse. You look flatter, and it's hard to predict. It's hard to predict what the water cut's going to do and changing your food's going to do. And why change everything the last week?
It doesn't make any sense.
Or the last day.
It doesn't make any sense. It never has. But it's like, I almost feel like that sense of urgency also comes from a sense of fear. That last week, like peak week or whatever, it's like that last week to lose a little bit more weight.
Which just means you're not ready.
Yeah, that's all that means. You just didn't prepare hard enough before. You don't see me doing nothing out of the ordinary prior to a competition. I might eat a little bit more on Friday night.
Yeah.
It's a weekend endeavor for me. Like I'm gonna eat some food.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put on some weight that night before. I get a 24-hour weigh and I'm gonna eat good. I'm gonna eat, but it's gonna be in the realm of the same foods I've been eating.
Yeah. That's something I was going to say, and I lost it. I was going to say with my numbers. So I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to pick my numbers.
Yeah.
Right? And it, like you said initially with the squat, it's like something you're confident you can take 3 reps with.
Yeah, something, because and here's why. The squat, you want to play a little bit more safe than the bench and the deadlift. Remember this. If you take, say your opening squat's 500, and you take 500 and you miss it, you're going to be fucked up mentally.
The rest of the day.
Shoot, you'll be nervous. But if you miss it 2 more times, you don't move on. If you don't complete the squat, you don't get to go to the bench. If you don't complete the bench, you don't get to go to the deadlift.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know
so
that.
if you bomb a lift, you bomb out of the meet.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more element of fear.
Yeah.
And that's a little bit more why it drives out more intensity and more testicular fortitude.
Yeah, you know you have to get it.
You
it's life or death. I think I'm going to take 415 for my first squat, which I could definitely take for a double, probably a triple. We took 430 last week for a really easy single.
Yeah.
So I think 415 is pretty conservative. And then from there, if I smash that, when I do smash that, go 445 probably.
Yeah.
And then make a big jump from there, like go for broke.
Yeah.
Is that what usually, I mean, like the third attempt going for broke? Or
for me, it was kind of always different.
You were trying to hit a specific.
Yeah, I would open with 630. Like my last few competitions, I opened with 635 squat. I remember so when I was going for 700 squat, I take big jumps because I take big jumps in I take big jumps in the meet or in training.
Yeah.
So I take big jumps in competition. I don't change nothing. If I didn't have 660 on my back in competition, I won't put 660 on my back before on the meet day. So typically this is what my sets look like. I do 135, 225. This is like a warm up, right? 135, 225, 315, 405, 500, 495, and then I'll take 6 plates. That'll be my first set wrapped. Now in competition, I might take 500 in the warm up area wrapped, even 405, because I want that weight to move quick. I don't want to strain. There should be no straining in warm ups. You shouldn't be fucking grinding through lifts and warm-ups. Yeah, when you get to your top warm-up, it might be a little bit more challenging because it's 85 to 90%, right? But you want to make sure you can still move it quick. So I would take 585 as an opener, then I take 635, and then I was shooting, for like 660, 680 at the time, and I would take that. I did that for one competition. Another competition at 585, 635, 700. I was used to taking 635 to 700, so I just did it in competition. I completed it. And then I was going for 730 squat. So I take 635 as my opener, something I could hit. I think 635 I hit for 3 or 4. It was my best ever. 585, my best ever was 8 in reps. 585 was pretty dope.
It is legit.
Yeah, I would like to get back there.
Yeah,
Because I'm squatting 465 right now for reps, So I'm on my way back.
Yep.
So 635 for my single, my opener, and I would hit that, and then I jumped to 700. I hit 700, and I've hit that in training. That was roughly a PR, though, in the competition. It was right around a PR in competition. Maybe 705. If my best squat was 700, I might do 705 in comp just to hit a PR in competition. And then I would go for something closer to broke, something that wasn't not really like a Hail Mary pass. That's where people mess up and typically get themselves hurt in competition. If they go for a Hail Mary, like, my best squat's 700. I'm not going to go for 750 in comp day. I'm going to go for 720.
Yeah.
Something 20, 30 pounds heavier than I've ever done. 15, 20, 30 pounds heavier. A lot of people just go for 5-pound PRs, which is totally fine too. It's how you want to play it. But that's how I would typically play. When I go to competition, I'm there to fucking. I don't care if my total isn't the number that I want it to. I'm not really going for the total. I'm there to compete against myself, and therefore I want to set PRs on each lift. So I would go for closer to broke, and that's why my number was 1775 or whatever it was, and I was shooting for 1900. It was way off because I jumped big, big ass jumps.
You could have gotten 18, let's say 50, but you would have rather just gone for broke.
Absolutely. I could have 830, 1830, 1840, something like that. But I just wasn't willing to do that because I was looking for the numbers that I wanted. I wasn't trying to look good. Like, again, this goes back to social media. I wasn't worried about putting it up in my fucking bio, how much I can total. Who gives a fuck? At the end of the day, there's always someone stronger out there anyways. There's a guy in fucking Russia right now carrying around a horse that's 1,200 pounds, so shut up.
You're never going to be the best.
You're never going to be the best, and soon you are, someone's going to beat it anyways, because here's the reason why. Training continues to evolve. That's one reason why, not the biggest reason, but one of the biggest reasons why you're never going to be the strongest, or it won't last for totally forever, is the drugs get better. At the end of the day, for strength sports, most of these guys are setting these big ass numbers or on performance enhancing drugs, and if you're not willing to take those, that's something that you're not going to be willing to have.
The science just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah, now you can go, well, I'm doing the tested division. Okay, how about insulin? How about all this shit they don't fucking test for that makes people strong? It's so crazy, while we're on that topic, like, to think about, Olympic level athletes. Listen, guys, there's a way to pass a drug test. It's this period. Like, there's ways to pass drug tests, and guys do it all the fucking time. And people are like, I've been natural my whole life, and I didn't. It's like, shut. If you have to beat it down people's throat that you're natural and you've been natural your whole life, you probably haven't been, right? It's like, why do you feel like you have to justify that? And so, kind of open your mind to that. Here's the deal: if something like. It's just a constant. If you feel like someone's a liar, if you're constantly probably justifying their lie, like, whoa, if you were telling the truth, you wouldn't have to justify it this much, right?
Yeah.
Just take that in.
Right, you're constantly telling people.
If you're constantly telling people I'm a drug-free lifter all the time, you're probably on drugs.
Right.
Because why do you feel the need to constantly tell people that?
Yeah, no one cares.
Nobody cares, and at the end of the day, nobody cares. The only people that cares are the people that cares. And it's just this little group of people. We don't know anything about the drugs, anyways. And, we can have a full topic on. A full conversation on steroids, and the view of it and what people think and how they've been criminalized in the strength sports. But everyone we look up to, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, oh, we love Arnold and stuff. And yeah, it's like, dude, he was one of the pioneers of it, fucking running D-ball. And just look at this, like all these guys ran shit, and Ronnie Coleman, all your favorite lifters, all your favorite lifters online are on running drugs. And, hey, they're only strong because they run drugs. Fuck you. You still be weak. If that's your mindset, you'll still be weak, Those who want to get strong will get strong.
Yep.
It's period. You'll do it naturally. Like I train a lot of guys who are on both sides of the spectrum. Guys say, hey, I'm on shit. Okay, I don't give a fuck. Good. It helps me understand your program a little bit better and how I can train you. Other than that, I don't give a fuck. I would train guys who would never even think about touching it. Who only would go. For instance, Henry. He's vegan, so he's really just always cautious about it. But he would never take performance-enhancing drugs. But he's always we're gonna make sure we're doing meets that are tested for him. You know what I mean? And he knows when he's doing non-tested meets that he's competing with guys who are on, or potentially on. And when he's even doing non-tested meets, he's still competing with guys who were potentially on.
Yeah.
Just know how to pass the
Let's
drug
be real,
test.
it makes sports more fun.
It does.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, we expect guys to run fucking 20 miles an hour at each other weighing 200. I watched football last night, and Ezekiel Elliott went to kick it on around the outside. And this fucking dude weighed 300 pounds, chased him down from the back and tackled him. 300 pounds chased down Ezekiel Elliott. Put that in perspective. Just put that in perspective how fucking athletic these guys are at 300 pounds. But if they pop a drug test, they fucking get kicked out of the league. It's like, but we expect them to run full speed at each other and risk their life. But if they try to take a drug that's going to help their bodies handle the fucking beating it takes, we criminalize them.
Right.
It's just crazy. We live in a crazy time.
Yeah, I heard the UFC is going to potentially back down a little bit on the USADA.
They absolutely should. USADA's fucking bogus.
Dude, it's so much more fun back when Vitor was juiced out of his mind, bro.
All of them should be juiced out of their mind.
Yeah.
I'm paying $90 fucking to watch you guys beat each other's face in. I want to see the most fucking badass athlete I can out there. Because on top of that, one of them's taking it anyways.
Yeah, they're still doing it.
They're still doing it anyways. Someone's just learning how to pass it more. And watch that. What's that documentary that talks about it? Like the Russians. There's a documentary on it. Evictuous.
I haven't seen it.
Look that up, Charlie. It's like Icarus or something. It talks about it, like anti-doping, the Russians' agenda to get it in what Putnam's agenda was and shit. It's pretty crazy, like how helping with the election and shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Sports are crazy, and we really just dove into a rabbit hole in here, but it's crazy to see. It's crazy. It's really crazy to see, and a lot of people right now are just misinformed on both sides. I know I would never advocate steroids to anybody, never. But I'm not. Again, with me, I'm very open-minded. Every time someone asks me a question, I look at it through two. I'm like, well, I can see this side, and I also can see this side. Yeah, and people go, well, it's not fair to the people who aren't doing it. I'm like, well, hold on a second. How about the people who say they aren't, the guys who aren't doing but are doing it,
And life's not fair in general, you know what I mean?
It's not fair in general.
We're not supporting it either way. We're not on either side, but it's like life, you know what I mean? Like genetics are totally different. So like one guy over here is going to be totally different than this guy over here, I don't have D1 genetics. So I'm going to be competing against guys, let's say in bodybuilding, say both people are natural, but one of them has a D1 NFL genetics and the other one doesn't. It's not a level playing field at all.
It's like Joe Rogan says. He goes, "I stood next to Shaq. We are not the same people."
No,
it's so true. We're not the same.
So true, man. There's such a disparity between genetics.
There is. So much for me. Like for instance, it's genetics as well, but it's like how you developed yourself growing up. Like my dad made me carry fucking shingles from the age of 12 years old all the way through high school, 12 through 18. I 19 years old. I hiked shingles up the ladder all day long, all summer. In half the winter, whenever I wouldn't have school, I'd fucking work with my dad on weekends and shit. So my legs developed a shit ton of strength early. I had an early base. Like when I first started squatting, I was just fucking good at it. I was pretty good at deadlifting because I was doing manual labor for years prior to lifting weights.
And then you put the time in too, watching people. I mean, you talk about spending hours and hours and hours in the gym just watching people.
Yeah.
Breaking down their form and diagnosing why people miss lifts and why people hit lifts.
Yeah, and so there's a way to do it natural, guys. I'm not saying there's not. There absolutely is. It requires a lot of fucking time and effort, though. And it's a way to do it. When you're on it, you might have a little bit more of a fast track, but that doesn't mean you're going to go the furthest either, though. That's the thing. You're always going to go the furthest. You see a lot of guys who one drug that's real heavy is Tren. A lot of people run that drug, and it makes you more of a fucking human being than you'll ever fucking believe. You become ridiculously strong. The side effects are ridiculous on it, though. But you can tell the guys who run it with this abnormal, like we all know they do, with some add fucking normal strength and explosiveness you've never seen. Whoa, but keep an eye on that guy. Within 2 or 3 years, he's gonna rip something off the bone and never be the same. So there's a risk for it. You know, if you're willing to do it, you gotta be willing. If you're willing to risk it for the biscuit, you gotta know what's gonna happen, what could potentially happen. So that's a choice that each of us need to make on our own.
Yeah. Let's circle back to the powerlifting meet. So super pumped to compete this weekend. I was talking to Andrew earlier. It's an interesting little nugget. So I was telling him I was nervous about it, and he was telling me this video he was watching recently by that Simon Sinek guy.
Yeah.
He was saying that in the brain, when you do like an fMRI, you can't tell the difference between nervous and excited. So he was talking about how you can literally, you know, when you have that nervous energy, you can basically trick yourself into being excited.
Yeah.
Because it's the same energy.
Same energy. I love that. That's so cool.
That's what I'm working on, is you know, shifting this nervous energy into excited energy and just showing up and fucking doing it.
Yeah, the way I look at it too, I feel honored to be on a platform that I get to showcase my talents. You know, when I compete, that's just I'm honored to be on a platform where I can showcase my talents. I worked really hard for this. So when I go on a platform, I'm like, sweet, I get to showcase what all my work's been to those watching.
Yeah, and also, you know, another thing, this is what I tell myself pretty often when I get nervous and worked up, is like, what's the worst thing that could happen? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, the worst thing that could happen, I go in and buy, you know, and then I go home and eat pizza and watch the highest stake game. Like, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. So it's like, even worst case scenario is usually not that bad. And you can really pose that question to almost anything in life whenever you're nervous and anxious. Like, what's really the worst thing that could happen? You know, and if it's not death or something, you know, close to that, then it's probably not going to be that bad.
It's probably not that bad, yeah. And just go enjoy it. And I think a lot of people miss that. You know, they get real nervous and anxious on competition days. And I see it in strongman as well. And I saw it really in powerlifting. Powerlifting's more prevalent than nervousness, I felt like, than strongman was. But both are, you know, before the competitions, the strongman shit, you know, I'm just, in powerlifting, I'm talking, hey, what's going on? And how are you? And no, I'm real nervous, man. I remember it was my last strongman comp. We were chatting with a few of the guys, and I was like, how you doing? He's like, man, I'm nervous. I'm like, what are you nervous for? He's like, oh, you know, I just get real worked up before competition. I said, oh, man, but what a great time it is that we get to lift weights with our friends. You know, it's just like, we're just lifting weights. We're doing the same thing. We've trained for this. We've done all these exercises before. You know, we have more adrenaline now than ever. We have more energy now than ever. Yeah. You know, we're going to be forced to level up. I look at the positive. I look like, I know when I compete like my level of intensity raises. And I'm an intense motherfucker at the gym. Like, I consider myself extremely intense. You know how it is, Jay. And when I go to competitions, dude, like, fucking, I'm not losing. Like, there's this fucking level of competition that comes out of you that you never had. And you get to see more of yourself. You get to be more human. And what an honor that is to be able to put yourself in that position to find more belief in yourself, you know, do something you thought you'd never be able to do. It's just going to give you this confidence that's going to ooze out from the gym as well. It's going to ooze out to normal life. You know, when I'm walking around and shit and I'm just conversating with people, sometimes I feel like better than them, but it's just like, you know, I mean, I've had a lot of intense experiences that's made me into the person I am right now. So you just carry yourself with this level of confidence. You know, there's a reason why Michael Jordan walks through the fucking mall strutting his shit, because he knows he's got these fucking rings. You know what I mean? There's a reason why you see these athletes, Conor McGregor, walking around like he's the shit. You know, it's not because, I mean, maybe it's arrogance. You can call it what you want, but he's done something that no one else has done. So you have to feel like when you've done something no one else has done, you can't compare yourself to the normal person. I'm not a normal person. I don't think I'm better than you, but I've been through more shit than you. If shit goes down in the jungle, I'm gonna rip your fucking arms off. You know? Yeah. So you just have that level, especially with men. You know, we're primal at the end of the day. We still have that shit. We're like, come on. Every gym you go into, people size you up. It's just part of the fucking process. Yeah. You know, people size you up and shit. You know, if you're the head dog, it's just like, it's just alpha. It's in the jungle. It's in real life. It's real shit. There's alphaness. It just is. Maybe not with our men right now. Everyone, I feel like men right now are just losing their fucking balls, but you get it.
Yeah. So to give you guys an idea of kind of, you know, the growth, I guess, over the last year. So when I hit my goal numbers, my squat will be probably 100 pounds more than my best squat ever before. When I take 475, that's
which is crazy. Doing that in 1 year, like a lot of people say 100 pounds, like that, to add that to a lift in 1 year is absolutely ridiculous. Like, that should never be undermined. That's crazy, because you were lifting 6 years before.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like you never lifted before.
I just posted that on Instagram actually a couple days ago.
You were even squatting every day for dumb reasons.
I lifted for 7 years before moving here, and I grew literally the same or if not more over the last year than I did the last 7 years of working out, which is crazy. You know, just getting quality nutrition and training and recovery. And then deadlift. You know, from when I first moved here, let's say coming off that cut I did for that California trip, I was like 365 to 405 max. Probably 365 though. 385 was my max. And 550 is going to be my, third attempt.
It's crazy.
And I'd taken 455 before and 405, but the form sucked and it was rough. But when I had first moved here, at that time, my best attempt would have been like 385, and now I'm going 550 a year.
What is that?
A little over a year later. Like an extra
120.
More than that. I don't do math. Charles.
Well, what's 405 to 505 is 100.
Yeah.
And 50.
45 more.
Man, 170 pounds, 185
yeah,
pounds.
Yeah, from when I first moved here, and it's
Come
like
on,
it looks
that's
totally
ridiculous.
different too.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
And I'm not in a position where I'm going to hurt myself either. Before I could move. Like I moved 500 3 years ago, and I just watched the video recently, and it was so it was cringy. Like it was all back.
Why do you think though? Like now you have more knowledge. Why? Like what? Why was it? Why was it so cringy?
There's two reasons why. The number one reason was that I didn't have the strength built up, especially through the accessory work. Like my glutes were extremely weak, my hamstrings were extremely weak.
You didn't identify weaknesses prior.
Yeah, my back was. I wasn't really doing. I don't know what I was doing, honestly. And then
you were just lifting weights.
Yeah, I was usually just throwing.
You were
weights
just literally
around.
just lifting weights. And
weights.
there's a method to lifting weights, and that's just like comparative program. People's like, well, I'm gonna try your program for a while. I'm gonna go do this guy's program for a while. I'm like, it's like, wait a second. Like it's like, are you just trying it because of that person? Like, what's your motives behind actually trying it? Like, find yourself a plan that's formulated correctly. That's gonna deliver the results that you're looking to achieve.
Yeah. And the second reason is just leverages, dude. I was just grabbing the bar and just going. I was just pulling you know what I mean? Like I was literally just pulling that weight up, and now I actually understand leverage is a lot more, and getting tight and pulling everything back, and it's totally different, completely different. So yeah. I'm excited. I'm really, really excited.
It's cool to watch, man. There's a few people in the industry that I see that effectively promote weakness development and do it correctly. In my opinion, it's something that I've been focused on literally since I first started lifting weights. All I cared about was getting strong. I never cared about my physique, literally until like a few years ago. And half the reason I care about it now, and I'm gonna be 100% honest, is just for the likes. I know when I put a picture of my shirt off, I get more likes.
Of course.
So it's just like it just drives more people to my page, but my motive is to drive more people to my page so I can show them how to lift weights. Because I don't give a fuck. Like I want to look good with my shirt off, so when I'm banging ass, she likes me.
Yeah.
But that's about the only reason I care. Like there's just that, and for the likes. The other reason that is just like I want to be healthy or whatever, but I don't care if I'm have a little bit of fat or my midsection shit. I want to be strong. I want to be so fucking strong that people look at me like I want to, like my dad lifted 635 for 9 the other day. Everyone just kind of looked at me. Like I want to be so fucking strong where I do lifts where people are like, I would never be able to do that. And I want to look at them and be able to motivate them and tell them, yeah, you can, because I started with fucking 135. And now look at me, I gained fucking 600 pounds on this lift. You can too.
That's why I love posting. Like I posted that 16 to 25 transformation when I was 16, and I'm glad that's where I started. Because a lot of people can relate to that. A lot of people can't relate to starting as a quarterback at your high school, right? And being the stud athlete, and jacked without even lifting weights. Like most people can't relate to that. They can relate to being skinny though and not having any muscle and building from there. So I'm happy about where I started, and I'm glad that's where I started.
Proud of your journey.
Yeah, of course. Now I can relate to a lot more people, and I'm also super happy about all the mistakes that I made over the last 7 years, because that's similar to what mistakes most people are making right now. Like they're very, very similar across the board. Most people are making a lot of the same mistakes, so I can very well relate to those people and have empathy for them and help them.
Very thankful for all my mistakes along the way. That's like one of my, I think about that sometimes now. I feel like my mistakes are more few and far between. I mean, actually not with training, for instance. Like my mistakes are fewer and far between because I've been doing it for so long. With business is a whole different story because I'm doing that, right? But I learned so much from those mistakes, man. Like when business mistakes, I just learned so much from them. I'm like, oh, okay. And, I was able to see things a lot more clear whenever I make a mistake, and you're able to relate to people a lot better whenever you make those mistakes, as they're making the same mistake. Like, oh, I've been there. I did the exact same thing, and here's what worked effectively for me and all the clients that I've worked with before.
Cool. I'm gonna get out of here. My parking meter's about to run out.
Yeah, let's roll. This was awesome, man. I enjoyed talking about that. It kind of.
I'm excited to report back what numbers I hit next week.
It brought back some glory days for me I haven't powerlifted in almost 2 years.
Oh, it's time.
I haven't done a show.
Did you get back on the platform in 2019?
Yeah, I'm going to. I'm pretty sure I'm going to. I got to invite the nationals for strongman. So I'm all in on strongman right now. Because I can get a pro card in strongman. Yeah. So I actually my goal has always been to become a professional athlete ever since a kid. I want to be a professional athlete, so I actually have a pretty good chance of becoming a professional athlete in strongman, within the next couple of years. And the arrogant side of me is like, this year, fuck it, let's go all in and try to get a pro card this year. And win nationals and go to the Arnold, all this stuff. And, that's definitely my goal. But I'm also humble and know that I'm just starting the sport less than 6 months ago, and it's going to take time and patience. But I'm going to have an opportunity to become a professional athlete. So I'm all in on strongman, but I've been rebuilding my squat. I'm told myself I'm not going to squat wide again in wraps until I can squat 550 close stance in my new stance. Hit 465 the other day for some bunch of triples. So I'm like, okay, I'm probably about 520, 530 right now. So once I'm able to squat 550, I'm going to open that thing back up again. And I'll squat probably 635 my first session. My legs feel strong enough for it in the wide stance. I've been developing my hips through box squats and front squats, sumo deadlifts. So I'm still getting all that hip development work in, not wide stance squatting, but still getting all the hip development work in through sub-accessory and main accessory movements. So yeah, once I squat wide again, man, I think I'm going to, once I'm able to squat around, if I hit 635 within my first session in 2019, which is my goal, within the first, month or two of 2019, by the end of February, if I can squat 635, maybe I'll just jump in on, for me with meets too, I can bench 405 any day of the week, close grip, any day of the week. So it's like, fuck, I can probably bench, if I did a little prep, I'll bench 450 plus. And then my deadlift, who knows? I could pull over 7 right now, sumo. I pulled 635 for 9. So I feel real confident. Maybe I can make another run in 1900. The comeback kid.
I'm pumped.
Don't call it a comeback. I never left.
I'm pumped.
I love it, man. Hey, this was great, Jay. I always enjoy the episodes. It was cool because we haven't got to talk in all week.
I know. I haven't seen you all week. We're always doing our own thing.
Yeah.
We're busy.
Busy boys.
People.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, this is great, though. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Peace.